realization that this is a platform that I need to be thriving in, and exercising more. So it's really got me thinking about products and online sellables that I could be doing, in order to feed, this network of people that are looking for this kind of, wellness, that are looking for this type of greatness, and overcoming, whatever obstacles, or getting into, this type of space. So just, being gifted to be able to be on this platform is a humbling experience for me, to be totally honest.
I love it. Give it up, give it up, give it up, give it up. Yeah, and you guys, it's been a win for me to notice that aha yesterday of what opens for you men when you're in our space. And that's very healing for us as well, to see how so many of the men, like I mentioned, many of my mentors are amazing men and they opened incredible doors for me and they taught me things that I would not have learned without them. And it's just been so beautiful to create this space of women and to see how it impacts you guys, the men who love us and support us and do business with us and grow with us, seeing how that tenderness brings forward the vulnerability and the strength and other parts that don't normally come out. That was a big aha for me yesterday. And I think that's an aha for women, for us to group receive what that impact has been. Yes, Tanya. Hi, DJ Martini.
Hi.
Hi, Tanya.
Martineé,
Yes.
Martineé.
Martineé, got it.
I just had to celebrate. Yesterday, I had three diva conversations with different women that I hadn't connect with in the group, with Kim, with Marita, with Melanie, and it was just awesome to be able to start co-creating together and see how we can support each other in the group. And so I just encourage everyone to reach out and start connecting with everyone in the group and see what we can co-create together, how we can support each other. Because Marita reached out to me knowing that I was moving to Bali and that Justine and I wanted to do retreats there. And she's like, I have a friend that's starting a hotel there. I'm just like, all this magic is happening by just reaching out and connecting. And to me, that's a huge win and taking advantage of what we signed up for in this group. So just had to share that with all of you.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And so we've got about 2 more minutes of wins. I do have an announcement for our group. And then Felix, I'll let you introduce our guest for today and tease up tomorrow too. I think we have another, or you'll let me know. I know what we've got going on tomorrow, and JK and we'll mention that. So a couple of things in announcements, though, if I don't see anyone raising their hands for wins. One win is my friend Wakita Okoli. I don't know many Wakitas, so I think this is my friend Wakita Okoli in the room, and we go back to 2004, whenever on 444 at April 4th of '04 of 2004, I met her at an event because people were seeing 444 all around the world. And I think that is Wakita in the room. Anyway, welcome, Wakita, if that is you. Yes, Dr. Andrea.
Yes, a quick win. Yesterday, I don't know if you remember that Ruth, she's from Kenya. She was sharing about how valuable it is to be in the network. And then we were talking afterwards, and she's planning to go to our premiere in Miami, in Fort Lauderdale. So that's a good win. She's going to meet you all and interact. So we look forward to be there.
Oh, awesome. That's a great win. Great win. I love it. Well, thank you. So I'm Ed and Kim Cross have been sending me sad face emojis all morning because they got double booked somehow. Crying emojis, all of these, all of these emojis. So anyway, they're missing us today. I mean, they're literally, look, oh, you can't see my screen. Yeah, I'll screenshot and share. Okay, so here are our announcements. This week has been and continues to be an epic week. And it's one that has been open to the public as well as to our members. And one of the things we've been teaching through this whole thing is, talk to your clients and the people that you serve and find out what's really working, what's collapsing time, what do they want more of. And so we redesigned how our community will operate from now on based on talking with our people that are winning, that are creating alliances, that are creating collaborations. And so next week, there will be a new schedule, and you will get, it's still the same times, but you will get notified by email and in school of the way that happens. So pretty much every day will be members only beginning next week, except for Tuesdays. So Tuesdays, we will have a special guest speaker. Often they're one of our celebrity guests or something like that. And you will be able to invite friends, invite colleagues, invite people. And then we will have a Join the Divas right after that, the hour after that, on how people can join this community and become a member and get their questions asked. But all the other days will be members only. Then Wednesdays, specifically, if you're only going to come to one day, is the day that I think is the most valuable. However, there will be descriptions of other days, and you could choose to go to whatever days you want, all the days, or just maybe you think there's a more important day than Wednesday. I'll tell you why I think Wednesdays are the most important. We have 2 meetings that day. We give you an Elevate training where we bring you one of our top community people, a Felix Sama, someone from our community, or we're teaching on how to maximize community. So how do you create collaborations that turn profitable and impactful? How do you network in a powerful way where you stand out and you maximize this community and all the who's we bring to you? And then the second meeting is when you go into networking with the community. And to me, that's the most valuable part. The people you meet, the connections you make, and knowing how to do that well. So Wednesdays, to me, if you're only going to pick one day, that's the best day. The other days, we have them laid out. Mondays will continue to be Momentum Monday. It's when you set up your metrics. It's when you do all the things that you go, what have I done already? What can I celebrate? And what do I need to create this week in order to be in powerful momentum on the vision that I'm called to fulfill? And you do that inside of community and hot seat coaching around that. Tuesday's the public day with speaker and always very valuable. Wednesdays will be our core meetings that you already have. And I'm speaking about the US market right now. Africa may start other days, Latin America other days. And again, you could come to all of those if it's relevant. Thursdays will be Diva Talks. So at first, Thursdays will only be the training on how you do that well. How do you communicate in a way that gives so much value that people get ahas, whether they ever work with you again, and the ones who are meant to work with you go, oh my gosh, that's my girl. That's my guy. I need to run to this person. So we're going to train you on that before you start doing it. So at first it'll be trainings. And then once we start scheduling the Diva Talks, we will open those to the public. So we'll stream them. That way we're raising your visibility in and outside, but also you'll be able to invite people to come. It's like your TED Talk, but it's your Diva Talk, right? And so that'll be really, really awesome. Those will be Thursdays. And then Fridays will be mastermind days. So this is going to be where you get to have the whole community think through where you're stuck or where you want to go next. So everybody will be focused on you for a period. As a community, you'll be focused. I hit the mouse. You'll be focused on solving things for each other and actually masterminding through each other's situations, which again is one of the most powerful parts of being in a community. So that's all going to be members only. And part of why we have members only is another thing that we got from you guys is, what do I come to? There's so much going on. What do I come to? So some of you will still come to all of it. Some of you will just come for certain days. And then the other thing we got is what's different really for the members versus the public. So we're making that really clear so you can go deep with your people, so it's not so transient and people coming in and out, and all the focus time is you really maximizing that time, and yet we can still be generous to the public and the public, right? But the rest, the non-members, and have great invitations. So anyway, thank you for listening to all that. I'd like to know in the chat or in the emojis or with your face, does that sound like a good remix based on what you told us? Because you all, I know it was like a lot of data. It was like when the PTA announcement comes up or at church, they stand up and tell you how the budget went. But I want you to know what's going on. Yes, 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 you're with me. Okay. So, that's not my favorite part. As you know, it's not my favorite part. I love taking the wins. I love bringing you the awesome people. So let's go ahead and have Felix, if you'd like. Yeah, you're all going to love the new format. I just want to see it on your face because I feel bored looking at you are like this, looking at me like this. Okay. Thanks for the energy. Now you've given me laughter and smiles and hearts, and that makes me feel back in the game. Okay. So Felix, let's go ahead and announce. I want you to edify and introduce your guest today, and we get to give it up for Felix for bringing us Felix and Friends, right?
Yes.
It's who you
Thank you so much.
know, We bring him people. He brings us people. Yes.
It's been my pleasure to do that. Before I introduce him, though, I just want to know how inspirational these calls have been for me these last couple of days. So I've had conversations with Stevie. I've had conversations with Stuntman. I've had conversations with Lewis. So we're going to put together an EP compilation of inspirational music, motivational music, strictly for a platform like this. Like I said, because I've been inspired by this. So we're going to go in the lab and start working on some of this music. Now, I also want people to know that aside from what we're doing, all of this stuff can be customized to represent your brand as well. A lot of times, music moves mountains, and you need something to identify what you got going on musically. And I think whether it's binaural, meditational music, house music, rock and roll, hip hop, there's all these different types of genres that we specialize in and that we could customize to your brand, and we'll work with you guys. So don't think that it's some type of top dollar situation going on here. We'll work with you guys and try to make it fit so that it serves your purpose. So I just wanted to put that out there. I'm going to be working on some music. I'll be shooting it over to Adora, and hopefully she'll be spreading it out to you guys as well.
One of those is a diva song with
that's going to be at the top of the list. That's going to be at the top.
Because he loves the ladies, and we're a bunch of ladies. So we're going to move the music, and we loved him. He has such a huge heart. So thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, he couldn't stop raving about you ladies. So I've been working with Lewis for many years now, and this last year we've been really working closely together on projects. We've produced, I want to say, at least 3 to 5 songs in the last couple of months. Louis Martineé, born as Louis Martinez. You never told me the story why you changed it to Martineé, so you got to tell me that story. But he's a producer, songwriter, DJ based here in Miami, Florida. He's had #1 Billboard pop chart hits as a writer and producer of the song Seasons Change by the freestyle group many of you may know, Expose. He's had multiple records reach top 10. He's been the BMI Songwriter of the Year. Expose, popular group in the 80s. He's repackaged it. The new group is called Oh Baby. Lewis has had the pleasure of working with artists like Ricky Martin, Enrique Iglesias, Celine Dion, Company B, Jermaine Jackson, the Pet Shop Boys, Elvis Crespo, and the list goes on and on and on. Ladies, mostly ladies, please welcome platinum producer Louis Martineé.
Woo, 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 woo.
What's up, Louis? It's great to see you. Adora, I'll let you take over the floor.
Well, I'd like you to kick it off. We haven't co-hosted officially together.
Yeah.
So you kick it off and I'll jump in here.
Sure.
Yeah, you're muted.
So oh,
Dr.
sorry.
Martineé. Not you.
Can you hear me? Oh, okay. Louis, you're muted. So unmute yourself. There's an unmute button right there. And you can unmute yourself.
There
you
gone.
go. How you doing?
Good. Thank you for having me.
I was just with you yesterday. We were working on a song.
Yeah.
So I've got this new track that's coming out called Drum Beater. And I was like, I don't like the mix that I have so far. And Lewis has like these supersonic frequency ears. And I'm like, I gotta go to Lewis's studio to mix this down. And sure enough, I sat down with him for a couple of hours. And we mixed the record down and it sounds golden to me now. Still a couple of little tweaks I want to do. He knows how we go back and forth just to get it perfect sounding so that sonically it's what it needs to be. But Louis, man, how many years have you been producing music now?
Oh, I get since 77, maybe 76, 78, somewhere around there, late 70s.
Yeah, so you've had like some of your most popular hits in the 80s, predominantly with the group Expose. How was that experience knowing that the song is being played on the radio and now there's potentials to get it on Billboard and going to the top of the charts with a bullet? What was that feeling like for you?
Well, it's a great feeling. What I did is I'm redoing some of my songs with a new group, like you mentioned, called Oh Baby, which we have a diva, an original Expose member in the new group Oh Baby. And she's somebody that should be on here one day, Lori Miller. And so we put this group together and we're redoing some of my old songs and then plus some new ones that I'm writing. So that's going to be, it's actually ongoing now already. I've already released 2 songs and a new one will be out probably March, April, in a month or 2, another new song. And so I'll be releasing a lot of new songs and working on music for a long time is just my passion. And I just always gravitated to music. Even when I was a little kid, instead of buying cars, I would buy, records. And that's something that's always, been in me.
So back in the day when record labels used to hire you to work on Ricky Martin, Celine Dion, like, wow, working with Celine Dion, that's accolades like you would not ever believe. But when they hire you, did you have a direct connection and pipeline with these artists, or did they just tell you what they wanted you to work on and you solely just got the tracks and worked on the tracks and never met the artist? Or was it a little bit of both?
A little bit of both. Like most of the time, the label gets in touch with you, see if you're interested in working with them. And then if it's a remix, mastering, mixing, producing, that kind of stuff, sometimes I don't meet the artist. But when I'm going to actually record a song from scratch, like I did with Pet Shop Boys and Debbie Gibson and other artists, then I, the artists usually come to me, to my studio, and we record and write the song if it's not written. And, I produce it, arrange it and do all those things to make the song able for release.
I have a couple. Go
ahead.
Felix.
No, the other question I had was, now being BMI Songwriter of the Year, how do you get that accomplishment, and what does that mean for you and your career?
Well, I mean, that was actually unexpected. I was working in the studio one day here in Miami, not my studio, another studio, and friends of mine come with a with the Billboard magazine. Hey, you're songwriter of the year. And go, well, what's that? I didn't even know what that was. And
A few questions. So
yes,
in the room, one thing we have in common, whether people are in music or not, are the people who are in our community or are watching our things, they are driven to make an impact and a positive impact. And it may be through a nonprofit, it may be through their business, it may be about breaking generational curses in their family, it may be about embracing joy or art, but they're all not your normal people. And that while I think everyone is given a dream, not everyone obsesses, focuses, invests, spends their time, their energy, ups and downs to stay the course. And I think that's a special type of person, and it's a privilege. I mean, it's a privilege to even live where we can do that and we have
yes.
choice to do that, right? So what have you done? Have you had moments where you were really trying to create something and you were just stuck and you weren't feeling a flow? Maybe self-doubt was coming in. Did you in your career have moments like that?
Yeah, I guess everybody does. Usually, like what I'll do is I'll go to a club and then see the people dancing, and then I get excited and and go back to work. Sometimes I'm just driving in the car and I get ideas. So they just come from everywhere. Sometimes they come in a dream. So sometimes I'm stuck on something and the idea will come in a dream, and then the next day, I put it down. So it just comes, you know, thanks to God in every shape form.
Yeah, so but what I hear there is you get in the atmosphere that inspires you and moves you, and that, like seeing people dancing, being in a club, it's kind of a relaxed passive state, and then boom. And this is
Yes.
the importance of recovery, guys. You're driving down the road, and I think you said looking at the beach or something
Yeah.
like that. Another passive, beautiful, recovered state, recovery, not push, recovery, and boom, something will come through. What was the third example? Or you might dream it. You might dream.
Yes.
Yeah, you might dream. Very passive when you're sleeping, right? Very
Yeah.
passive. Yeah. So I want you to think about that, because champions, half of the best players, the major part secret for them is how much recovery time. Are they getting massages, ice baths, time away from really where they're even Ironmen can't do Ironmen back to back to back to back without a great recovery, without how are they refueling, how are they and so you can't be in tension and serious driven uptight focus all the time, even though it feels urgent to get your breakthrough, to solve something, to figure out, and have flow. And it's creative flow and open space and connectedness to God, I heard you say, that allows for that unstuckness and for the flow to start going again. That's really, really good. Thank you for sharing that. Success across any endeavor has some common threads. And so I love that you shared that with us. The other thing is, when you always loved music. It was always your thing. But did you have moments where, like, say you hit a mountaintop and you had this moment of mountaintop, maybe it was the award, or maybe, you're working with, and then a valley, like where you're an unexpected kind of breakdown where, do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh
Where,
yeah, no, absolutely.
yeah.
And music, there's nothing but ups and downs. So you're down, especially the radio, not the radio, the record companies. They're like, what have you done for me lately? So unless you have a hit, when you have a hit, everybody's on you. They want you to work with them. And then when you're a little down, then for some reason everybody thinks you forgot how to write music, which is impossible. unless you're dead. And so yeah, so it's always like I'm always doing things to try to get back to that peak, that everybody likes to be in, and
Yeah,
yeah, it's
son,
always a trying thing.
I want to make a point real quick. And sometimes you're way ahead of the curve. So what I mean by that is like I'll produce a track and I'll put it out there, and for whatever reason the public's not ready to accept it. 2, 3 years down the road, you put that same track out. Now everybody loves it. So
Yeah,
it's timing as well that sometimes factors in to what you're putting and the energy and the music that you're putting out there.
yeah,
Yeah, what I think is important about this, because I've seen now you've been producing since you said 77 or 76, right?
yeah,
And now you've had years and years and you've watched the peaks and valleys, the peaks and valleys. So you have a comfort and you have hindsight of like, yeah, that's just part of the music business.
yeah,
Yeah, that's just the way that it goes. Yeah, this is just how but when it's your first peak valley, right? It can feel like the end of the world, the best of the world, that it can be like, and so I think it's really important to share that it's part of the journey. It's part of the ebb and flow, that when you're in the valley, no matter what others think, you have a way of thinking. For Felix, it's like, I'm just ahead of the curve. Cher also has that belief. I'm always ahead of the curve. Of course, they're going to hate me right now. That's her way of, and so when haters are hating, she's like, you'll get it, you just don't understand. You're not. So it switches her frequency, Marita. It up levels the thing. So it sounds like for you, then you go, okay, it's time for me to get back at it and start
yeah. And
scaling that
it's
mountain.
actually reinventing yourself too, because music changes, so you try to stay, like Felix is, ahead of the curve. So you're constantly changing and adapting, and also being the foresight in what the music is going to be.
So I want to know for you, because there are a lot of people that dream of having the kind of careers that, the career you have, the experience, the artists you got to work with, and somehow you made it and you got that. And at one time I was listening to Cher, I think it was Angelina Jolie say that as a grown woman is sitting around on a set all dressed as Snow White or whatever, that Maleficent, they're all dressed in costumes in between sets going, we get paid for this.
Yeah.
I'm a grown woman. I get paid to be in a costume and to do all of this. And now she's had years of that, right? It's the same for you in a different way. Like
Well,
what?
it's actually a little different because I from the beginning, what I was a producer, songwriter, DJ, so I'm a little bit more behind the scenes. But now in all my new projects, like I just worked with Casey and the Sunshine Band, and I have that new group called Diva, and I mean Oh Baby, and other groups. So what I'm doing is I'm made myself as an artist, like DJs that are DJ Tiesto and other DJs that are very popular. So I want to be, that's what my next phase is, and that's what I'm trying to shoot for, is being a DJ artist that actually performs, not behind the scenes like I've always been. I've always been in the studio, locked up in here all by myself. I work on a song for 200 hours, and then it's put out, and but nobody knows that. Actually, a lot of times people think that the artists are, which sometimes they are, but the artists are the ones that wrote the songs and made the music, and it's not. It's people in the studio locked up in there for days, and we get some water through the door hole, and we keep working.
Yeah. So what I hear is
Once.
one, I mean, songwriter of the year, that's a big deal. You got that. So you're one of those, and that you in your reinvention. So even though you made it in music, I still want to go back to that. What's it like to be a person who made it in music, and what do you think set you apart so that you could do that? Because while your next cut is being more present, and we're excited for that. We're here for that. There is a part that you got to live that people prayed to live and never made it to that point, to that level of success. I know that's who you were, and you're going somewhere next, and that's the crowd we are, where the past is the past. But I'd love to know, what do you think made you able or positioned you to be able to live that level of success that is now last year's news?
Just perseverance. I mean, I just kept putting music out there and writing songs and working with whoever would work with me, and actually finding talent. A lot of what I do is find talent, and then I nurture it, and put it out with my music. And just perseverance. You just got to keep going, and keep learning, mostly because sometimes what you're doing is not to other people's like. So you have to, try to figure out what most of the people like. Not everybody's going to like your music. There's going to be people that don't and people that do. So that's always, music is like a bad word. Everybody has one.
That's awesome. Okay, so perseverance, that's in the chat. And remember, we're participating people, right? So
Right.
if you relate to, yes, perseverance has helped you get to where you've gotten, and you can see that's resonating, put it in the chat. Perseverance, being willing to change and grow. You've been active.